You can trick the boys on Wall Street, baffle folks back home, ride roughshod over the jet set, deny pleasures you've known. You can fool the drunks and children, browbeat the mild and meek. You can lead a life of flim-flam, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. Tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. Theorize, you can weaselize, but you can't bamboozle me. You can fill the drunks and nitwits, puzzle the weak of mind, run circles around the misfits.
2 minutes until showtime.
You can scare buffoons and cowards, hoodwink the birds and bees. You can be a sniveling blowhard, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can theorize, you can weaselize, but you can't bamboozle me. Yeah, you can trick the boys on Wall Street, baffle folks back home, ride roughshod over the jet set, deny pleasures you've known. You can fool the drunks and children, browbeat the mild and meek. You can lead a life of flim-flam, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. Tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. Theorize, you can weaselize, but you can't bamboozle
1 minute until showtime.
bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can theorize, you can weaselize, but you can't bamboozle me. Yeah, you can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You theorize and weaselize, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You tell your lies in disguise, but you can't bamboozle me. You can't bamboozle me, no, you can't bamboozle me. You can theorize, you can weaselize, but you can't bamboozle me.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Insurrection, obstruction, indictments, civilly liable for sexual abuse. The one man responsible for all that could be sitting in a prison cell on election day and still be elected commander-in-chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO the last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stayed at his properties. He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is reelected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell the MAGA folks no more before it's too late. It's area code 914-803-4131. That's 914-803-4131. You can also join us in the chat rooms over on Twitch and on YouTube. The YouTube link is just liberaldanradio.com. Just go to the live show and come join us in the chat room. Also, if you are watching on Twitch or want to watch on Twitch, it's twitch.tv slash Liberal Dan Radio. I have a brain fart right there. So go join us there. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio and you're trying to chat there and you're wondering why I don't respond, it's because I don't monitor 3 chats.
So that's how it works. We only do 2 chats at the moment, and so if you want to join in the text-based chat, just come to either of those 2 locations. Support the show. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime to subscribe to the channel over on Twitch. Just use you connect your accounts and do it that way, or you can also subscribe to the show normally. You can do bits as well and buy bits for the show on YouTube. Subscribing is free, but memberships cost at about $2 a month. The higher levels get you higher access, and also you could also do super chats, super stickers, and buy other memberships, gift to other people memberships, like Nick Rich did over in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much for gifting a membership today. You could also buy me a cider. Go to liberaldan.com, click the buy me a cider button, or just go to buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio, and you could do it that way. Venmo, Liberal Dan as well. Just do friends and family because you're not buying anything. Of course, there's always the Patreon, patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way will get you there, and you could support the show on a monthly basis. Shouts out to everybody in the chat so far. We got one half of the mod squad so far. Erin, I haven't seen Jolie pop in yet, but I'm sure she'll be here. We got Jackie, Dawn, Jeff, Fancy, Nick, Steve from across the pond, Dakota Dave, Bicycle Mike, Scott, who just got a gifted membership from Nick, so it's always nice. Ichabod Deer. Don't think I've missed anybody yet. If you've not liked the show, please remember to like and also subscribe if you've not subscribed already. I'm sure most of y'all have already subscribed, which is good. Appreciate everything that y'all do, and when it comes to supporting the show. I was half expecting, maybe they're not enabled on the channel. I don't know. But when I was doing my Nerdy Dan stream yesterday, while I was live, if you subscribe to the show while I was live, you also had the opportunity to get 3 months of Apple TV Plus for free, as long as you were a new subscriber or you gifted somebody else a membership over there or a subscribership over there. I don't seem to have that on this channel yet. I don't know if you have to be a channel or a paid channel for a certain amount of time or not. I don't know if it's something you have to enable. Excuse me. See, it says drops are rewarded by watching the content channels you love. You must watch a participating channel to receive progress towards the drop. When you watch the let's just see. I'm trying to figure that out. So that thing doesn't seem to go away until like mid or after I get back from Disney. So if, for example, you do want a 3-month membership of Apple TV Plus for only $5.99, and if it doesn't come available on my Liberal Dan radio stream when I get back, I think it's the 16th of August. Yes, the 16th of August will be my next Nerdy Dan show. And so if you want to, for $5.99, get 3 months of Apple TV Plus, if you're a new or returning subscriber to Apple TV Plus, you can get it that way. So, anyway, so that's it could just be that I talk politics all the time on the channel. Maybe that's why it's not enabled on Liberal Dan Radio. But again, that's another way to support the show is by subscribing to the Twitch, the nerdydan.com Twitch channel as well, and that way we'll notify everybody. I guess we'll remind everybody on Monday, the Monday I get back on the 15th, to see if A, it's become enabled on this channel, or B, if it's going to be something that you can do, or you'll have to go to the Nerdy Dan stream to do it as well. So, but all it does is buying a membership. That's all it requires. But you have to do it while I'm live. I think that's the only caveat, is you have to do it while I'm live. So the next time I'm live will be August 16th on nerdydan.com, which seems like a crazy far away. If you're in the YouTube chat or Twitch chat and you're calling into the show, just drop in your drop in and say that you're from the area code that's calling in, so I know it's you. If you haven't done that yet, you also have to hit the one to say that you want to speak. But if you haven't done that yet, go to the YouTube channel on liberaldanradio.com and just say, hey, it's me, I'm trying to call in. So, or if you're already there and I missed it, I guess somebody could let me know if you minute. Hey, Hugger Greeter TK, what's going on? Good to see you. So we got some stuff to talk about today. I have some planning to do for my vacation next week. We'll see how long we go. I actually went on nerdydan.com. We were talking a lot of politics last night on my Nerdy Dan stream. I have my friend Ari, who plays several of the same games I play, and we were chatting about politics. And Aaron was in the chat as well. So it was basically just the three of us. Just the three of us. New version of the song, I guess. We can make it if we try. Just the three of us. Wait, you're not picking up, Dan? What? Oh. You know, I wouldn't want anybody to pick me up. I'm kind of heavy when it comes to that. Anywho. Oh, Big Hook 778. Okay, cool. We'll get to Big Hook now. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad you called in. What you want to talk about?
Well, that was quite the thing there with the National Association of Black Journalists that Trump just had. He just
oh yeah, we're definitely
pretty much
he crapped the bed on that one. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, granted that it requires him to actually think, but I really don't know what he was thinking when it came to him agreeing to go speak to the National Association of Black Journalists. How he thought, I mean, he probably thought it would go well because he thinks he's untouchable. He thinks nothing's going to harm him. He thinks he can do anything, and that if it fails, it's anyone else's fault. But in reality, this is the whole thing with the National Association of Black Journalists is, like, this is one of the reasons why he shouldn't be president. And it's not because he went to go talk, decided to go talk to. It was because that it clearly wasn't a good idea for him to do it. And either his advisors told him, A, you shouldn't do this, and he ignored them, or B, he just hires people who are advisors who are a bunch of yes men who are not going to question him on anything he does. And if you surround yourself with yes men, or if you won't listen to your advisors who are giving you probably good advice, that you're somebody that lacks the ability or the wisdom that's required to be president. Of course, we know Donald Trump is not somebody who has any of the wisdom one might need to be president after his first term. But yeah, I mean, it pretty much went as we would have expected. They asked him hard questions. He either couldn't answer them or answered them in the way that perpetuated his issues on race. And then, like a coward, he fled after agreeing to meet with them and be interviewed them by a whole hour. Like a coward, he fled the stage after only a half hour once everybody realized that, you know, hey, this is not going well for him and we need to cut bait and leave. Although I do think that perhaps if before somebody notifies Stormy that he pulled out after a full half an hour, they should tell her to sit down first, because for Stormy, him lasting a half hour would be a big deal, you know. Anyway, that's my little bit on it. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Hal sort of cut him down to size as well. He did a great thing on the whole thing there. But all in all, it's boy, what a week makes. I mean, Kamala has come out on fire. She's got all the
Kamala.
support. I mean, she can campaign full time, which is something that Trump is completely unable to do. And I mean, let's face it, she's got the criminal case laid out as to why he shouldn't be president, as well as why the rest of his trials should not be delayed and should go forward. So it's an interesting contrast. I mean, and you got to love it, because Biden can just sit back and say, "Oh, you asked for it, now you got it."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, ever since you'd think like after the whole shooting, that he would have been able to ride that to victory, and then he's taken every responsibility, every chance, every possible chance to shoot himself in the foot, so to speak. He's done. I mean, picking J.D. Vance was terrible on so many levels. There's so many reasons why J.D. Vance was the wrong pick. It highlights their bigotry by the.
He's couched in controversy, shall we say?
He is definitely couched in controversy. Yes, but the bigotry that Trump supporters are showing Vance's wife just highlights the bigotry of his supporters, which just goes on to explain, why people shouldn't be voting for Trump if you're against any sort of bigotry. You have the fact that, all of Vance's issues, between the silly ones of, couch humping and dolphins violating women and him searching for it. Between all that, plus you have the more serious issues of, him saying that women should stay in abusive relationships for their kids, and that sort of thing, which and his selling his soul to the person that he once called America's Hitler, his issues on extreme issues on abortion, where he even puts himself to the further right of Trump on abortion. But even though he says, well, we're going to support Trump's policies as I'm his vice president, if Trump wins and then kicks the bucket, Vance is the next president, and then he gets to push for his ideals, which includes even more harsh reality for people who might ever need an abortion. So, and then this thing at the National Association of Black Journalists just helps the spiraling downward of him and his campaign, and just shows why he has nothing. And someone in the chat showed as well that nobody even noticed anything like a scab on his ear. So either he had some magic healing gel or something else is going on, right?
Yeah, but what I don't like is that there were three of them up there, and not one of them pushed back on his we're killing children after birth bullshit lines. That's one of the things. I don't know why they don't simply say that rule only comes in effect if the life of the mother comes into effect, where the mother will die if the child is given birth, or it's a case of this woman was denied all her reproductive options up until that point, and she had to actually flee the state to receive that care. I mean, I don't understand why they don't say that directly out front in front of him and make him actually have to defend that, because that's the thing. He's just basically allowed to say his spiel, and then it's sort of like, oh, and we just ran out of time, and bye-bye.
Well, I think them running out of time. I don't think they ran out of time. I think his handlers or whatever were like, he needs to go now. I think because I didn't see the entire thing, but I saw the part where it ended abruptly, and that was definitely something that was done quickly. So I don't know if they had the time at the moment, but yeah, I mean, I do wish that there's something to be said about the fact that we need to do more fact checking when candidates say things that are tacitly false. But there's also, I guess the other side of it is that if they were constantly fact checking them, they'd have no time to ask additional questions, so that maybe it's the responsibility of the media afterwards to say, this is what Donald Trump said, and this is why it's a lie. But some things that are so outrageous, like, we're killing infants, which is not legal, maybe some of those things do need to be called out immediately. But that also could be why he agreed to. He might have said, "Look, I'll come up on stage, but you can't fact check me on whatever." And that's kind of what happened on the CNN debate. Is the agreement there was that no fact checking would be done on the debate, which then automatically benefited Trump because he could say whatever the hell he wanted to without the moderators going, "Well, this is not true because."
Well, you know him. He gish galloped the whole thing. He completely refused to answer any questions, and then he just basically gish galloped. And when you only have enough time allotted to you to even dispute maybe one, possibly two issues, and he's already said 8 lies in that amount of time, where do you go? I mean, other than to say, "Oh, everything this man just said is a pile of horse shit," and you can't believe a word he says. I mean, you
almost took the words out of my mouth. I was saying that Biden should have went ahead and like pulled a My Cousin Vinny, or maybe when they were trading for it, they should have had him do a My Cousin Vinny where he goes like, "Everything this man just said is bullshit. Thank you," and then walks away. And of course, in the court of law, the judge at that point was like, they'll remove everything from the record except for "thank you," and then put him in. But it wasn't in court, so he could have just said, Everything Donald Trump just said there is BS, so I have no reason to talk about it further. Check the fact checkers after the show, and then people could have been like, okay, and then they would have had something to look forward to, and maybe that would have been the wiser decision on how the handle the gish galloping, because you knew that's what he was going to do because that's what he does. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we all know the game that he plays. I mean, he just lies continuously. It's always the same speech over and over again with maybe 1 or 2 extras added in. I mean, I can't understand how on earth these people keep following him, because he's no longer entertaining anymore. I mean, it's just basically white supremacy on steroids with the Hitler approach of repeat the same lie over and over and over again. I mean, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than, I mean, he's basically saying, you're right, you're white, you're superior to other people, and you have the right to be heard and understood, and I'm going to teach all these people out there who say that you're no more superior than anybody else. I'm going to teach them all a lesson. And it's like, where do you go with that? I mean, other than to say, "Oh, he's a dictator."
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, but the thing is that, like, even though you say these things to them, they all go, "Oh, give me proof." And it's like, hello, we've given you proof. You've tripped over the dead body a dozen times, and you just refuse to admit that it's there. We've shown you proof of him saying things. We've shown you proof of every which way and whatnot. We've shown you that he has no policies. He just simply says, "Drill, baby, drill." And, I mean, what does that mean? I trust Trump. And it's like, trust what?
Right.
It's gobbledygook. It doesn't make any sense. These are the rantings of an insane man.
You have the issue is that most of his supporters, most of the people that are going to vote for him are lost. I think they're just lost to the void of time. Like, I don't think there's anything that can be done at this point without major deprogramming. Like, you'd have to get them into like a deprogramming thing, and I'm not saying that we should have government programs to deprogram people, but it's going to take people massive amounts of deprogramming to get over the cult that they're in. So the thing is that
addresses another issue, which is that you guys need to have a national curriculum. You can't have this, the states will tell you what's true and what's not. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You know, I mean, you can't say, "Oh, you get to write your own history." No, you know, that's just bullshit. You have to tell it like it is. You have to, you know, tell the fact that people were denied their rights and their privileges and whatnot, and that, you know, it's time to see America, you know, warts and all, and how we got here and how we go forward to make it better for everybody. I mean, I don't think that's an unreasonable ask at all. I don't know.
Those who forget
Do
their
you have
history are
any?
doomed to repeat it. But you know, on the other side of the coin, we have Trump and the people who are pushing for a national curriculum. But that national curriculum that they're pushing for is like a national, like, patriotic curriculum where you only teach things that make you love the country and not things that criticize the country, and that's just no good because you can't forget the bad stuff. But that's one of the major important reasons why we can't let Republicans gain an inch anymore. We can't let them have any more gains, because if we do, we get stuck with, you know, classes like they have in Florida that teach people that slavery taught black people skills that they could go on then to use after slavery, you know, let alone all the people that lived and died in slavery for hundreds of years before that happened. And then after that happened, you know, despite the fact that now whatever skills they might have had, they still couldn't, you know, ply their trades without dealing with excessive racism in other forms after the Southern Reconstruction. So
Yeah. My other concern is as Rachel Maddow said, it looks like they're going to try to do the Green Bay sweep again. That they're going to just say, "Oh, well, we can't. There's a problem with the voting here. Therefore, let's put it to the legislature to decide how the Electoral College votes are cast." You know, that's kind of worrying, because and with the confidence that Trump has, it sounds like that's been the scheme all along, especially since he said, "Oh, I don't need your votes anymore," and whatnot, and along with the white Christian nationalist chant of, "Oh, you only have to vote this time, and then you won't ever have to vote ever again." You know, it's like, I don't know where do you go with that. I mean, other than you know, you can only come to one conclusion, which is that he wants to be a dictator for life at this point.
yeah, I mean, he says dictator on day one, but in reality, nobody who wants to be dictator on day one wants to stop being dictator on day two. So, of course, when he says dictator on day one, and you say, "Well, he's going to be a dictator longer," he's like, "Oh no, I didn't say that." And then, of course, the fact checkers, like on Twitter or whatever, will be like, you know, "Hey, this is not what he said." But even though it's not what he said, in reality, that's what he means, and you have to understand that that's what he means. And unfortunately, there are plenty of people who don't, you know. Anyway,
But here's the other thing. Like, it's funny. I mean, I listen to a variety of people, so when I put names out there, but Politics Girl, she had a thing there yesterday, which was about we need to start making consequences for election deniers, because this can't continue where they just simply say the results are false, and you end up with this conspiracy theory where you have the cyber ninjas and all the rest of the crap going on. And it's like, you know, you can't delay an election forever. You know, I mean, he had his 60 court cases that he got slapped down into, and that should have been the end of it, you know. And he went all the way to the January 6th thing, where he convinced all of his sycophants that the election was stolen, which, you know, I mean,
it's his fault that terrorist Barbie died. He encouraged all those people to storm the Capitol, and it's his fault that terrorist Barbie got shot. Because, you know, if he didn't sit there and try and mislead his own people that, you know, he was robbed of the election, they wouldn't have tried to storm the Capitol, and her little terrorist heart would be alive today.
Well, that's just it. You know, I mean, he has harmed so many people. I mean, he killed off with his COVID lies, you know, well over 500,000 people because they believed him and thought, "Oh yeah, well, freedom, I don't have to wear a mask and I can go out and make myself sick and, give it to other people who are possibly even more vulnerable than I am. I mean, that's a betrayal of public health safety guidelines, as well as, just human decency on a whole.
Right. Well,
and
that requires,
I
like a lot of times people talk about common sense, and I'm like, I don't know if we should use that word anymore because it's nowhere near common. But I don't think that there are plenty of humans that aren't decent either. You have clearly in the example you citing with the pandemic, these people didn't care at all if their actions caused other people to get sick. If they killed somebody else's grandma through their irresponsibility, these so-called pro-life people were like, oh, well, it's not my responsibility. Well, it should be. We should all have the responsibility. I've said it before, said it again. The right to swing your fist stops well before it hits my face. You can't even swing your fist at my face. That's assault. So you don't have the right to do anything you want to do because some things threaten harm to other people, and you shouldn't be able to do it. Just like, you might have the right to own a gun. You don't have the right to shoot that gun all willy-nilly in the air because the bullet might land and hit someone and kill someone or injure them or whatever. And so, that even though, just because you have the right to exist, it doesn't mean you have the right to stop other people from existing with your own actions. So.
Well, I mean, that goes along the same lines of the argument, oh, well, black people, and I'm like, okay, if you're a black person and you're like, okay, how do I feed myself? Nobody will give me a job, outside of maybe I have some family that might be able to look after me while the tough times roll on, or whatnot. I mean, you give people no other option other than to either look at, there's crime, there's drugs, there's whatever, but it's like you force the situation. It's just like redlining, and the fact that we have people that think, oh, well, this is just there's no such thing as racism. Bullshit.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. We see it every single day. This stupidity has to end at some point in time. And then a black job is any job. And
yeah.
As Hal said, he said it perfectly clear. He says they're turmoil positions of labor because you can't make a career out of it. You can't get ahead in it. You're basically an indentured servant to your employer, and that's it.
Pretty much.
I don't know how to say it any better than that. But, I don't know. It's weird. And as everybody knows, I'm that Canadian neighbor that is shocked that you guys live the way you do. Yes, I know.
It's really like... like there are a lot of things that they do that conservatives will do specifically just to keep black people specifically or marginalized and oppressed people down. Like they talk about black jobs because not just the fact because they want to attack the people who are undocumented migrants who are here trying to seek asylum or whatever. They want to attack those people, but they also view things as black jobs because the Trump and other people who vote for Trump will view any of those type of jobs that he's referring to as beneath them. Black jobs, in the 1800s were the slavery was the slaves. That was, and that's what they're basically trying to do now. Almost every action that they do as it pertains to whenever they bring up black people, it's never in reality a benefit to black people. Like they always talk about abortion and how Planned Parenthood targets black communities, and that's why they put those clinics there. I'm like, no, that's stupid. That's supply side economics, and supply side economics doesn't work.
Well, look at the one lady that was trying to who went to have an abortion, and they were looking at putting legal charges on her. Who did it turn out to be? A black woman.
Right, the one in Ohio?
You can't tell me, oh yeah. I mean, you want to talk about selective prosecution. I mean, duh. A black woman exercising the rights that everybody else should have?
Right,
and that's just...
the judge that ultimately got the case was like, I don't even understand why I have this. But the other judge was stupid in allowing it to go forward in the first place. Because in reality, and we talked about that case on the show before as well, is that simply, they basically denied the treatment to her because of the law as it was written at the time in Ohio, because it was before the constitutional amendment went into effect, that the voters passed to protect abortion rights. So the people were like, oh, well, this person... She was denied the ability to save her own life because even though she was miscarrying, there was still a heartbeat. So suppose it was a heartbeat, pulsating blood vessels. So because of that, they said, "Oh well, we can't do anything about it currently." And so I forget what week she was in.
And they sent her home, and I mean, they sent her home, and basically, she ended up having it expel itself on the toilet, and and then they said, "Oh, you tried to dispose of a human." And it was like, no, she didn't.
No, she just miscarried. She delivered the miscarriage.
She just miscarried like everybody else. I mean, what is it? The statistics are 1 in 3 pregnancies will result in a miscarriage.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Hell, they say that perhaps, what is it, like 30% of even embryos that are created just don't implant naturally. So if you had a situation, if embryos were really babies, and if you had a situation where you where you put your baby in where there was a 30% chance that your baby might die, you'd be arrested and convicted of child endangerment. So that's proof in and of itself that an embryo isn't a baby, because we'd be charging people left and right if that was the case. It's an absurd notion by people who don't understand science, but who for some reason we allowed them to gain power anyway. So,
and now they want to track women's periods. I mean, this has just gotten completely out of hand now. I mean,
they want to track their periods. They want to ban birth control. They want to ban mifepristone, which is the abortion pill, from being mailed. The only reason that got thrown out was because the people bringing the case did not establish standing. They didn't argue on the merits of the case. If somehow they got it,
said, what they did was they said they instructed them on how to bring the case with the possibility of them being able to give a technicality ruling that would work in their favor, which is, I mean, that's the same grounds that Thomas gave to Eileen Cannon there. Oh, say that the special prosecutor is unconstitutional. I mean, that was just garbage.
Well, yeah, I mean, because if that was the real argument, if that was an actual valid argument, Trump's legal team would have made it before the immunity ruling, and she would have made that ruling months before as well. But the only reason she made the ruling that she did, and she cited because she was able to cite Clarence Thomas in his whatchamacallit, in his concurrence. And
it was basically an escape valve for her to be able to sidetrack the maggots who, if she actually had to hold the trial and all the evidence was overwhelming, and she would have to basically actually charge him, she would be on a hit list for the rest of her natural life, and she knew that. She was in a no-win situation, and she took the option that was available to her, given by Thomas. I mean, that was just. But that's the thing. They say, "Oh, we're impartial." No, you're not. It's quite obvious to anybody that's alive, awake, and has two brain cells together that you're playing politics. There's no other way to interpret it.
Right. I mean, she was appointed by Trump, and she had no business being at that level, because she had She didn't have the experience to be at that level. She's been overturned how many times now? Ridiculous amount of times that she's been overturned, by higher courts, and the fact that Donald Trump is just
be removed.
She'd have to be impeached. I don't think there's any other way to. They could remove her as I think a higher court might be able to remove her as being the judge on a particular case based off of certain arguments being made. Like if they could prove bias, a higher court might be able to say, okay, a new judge is going to be assigned here. But the only way to remove her from the bench either is resignation or, I think, impeachment.
Yeah, I just don't have enough legal knowledge to be able to really say much other than that. If I was a referee and calling balls and strikes, I'd be calling bullshit. Because that's all I see anymore. The Chevron deference thing. That puts the public at risk for all the greatest polluters in industry all across the United States now. Oh gee, how many people have to die before you tell us that we have to change our wicked ways? I mean, come on, where does that go?
Right, and you had even in the case where it wasn't before the Chevron ruling, there was the case with the EPA. I think it was an Alito ruling as well. I forget the name of it, but it was all of Alito's rulings are terrible, and he was basically trying to override the federal authority on the fear that the EPA might say that a puddle is a public waterway and thus regulate it. And I'm like, no, stupid. But this is what you get when you allow. When you them as a party are critical of people who are, who they view as intellectuals, because intellectualism has somehow become a dirty word. You can't be an intellectual in their eyes because I guess they feel threatened by them.
Yeah, maybe that was a dual thing with Alito and Gorsuch, because Gorsuch, as I recall, he was on that too. He was like, oh yeah, well, how do you define a waterway, and does a natural marshland not dictate a waterway? A marshland is basically a freshwater cleaning system, for the environment. That's what it does. It basically takes up all the toxic materials in the air and the environment around it, and basically, cleans it up and gives, the wildlife such as frogs and all the other things that are necessary to continue the cycle of life as we know it within the animal kingdom along,
Yep. Well, we had this situation in Louisiana recently, just a few days ago, where you had an oil spill in one of the waterways, and they had to save on water and not use as much water and whatever, and people were mad, and I was like, but y'all, this is what you conservatives elected. You elected Jeff Landry to be governor so that he would protect big businesses when they pollute your streams and air and waterways or whatever, because they don't care. All they care about is enabling people to make profits. They don't care if the profits making profits harm people. That doesn't matter.
Capitalism is fine so long as it's regulated. That's the thing. It has to be regulated, because otherwise these guys will. You give them an inch and they take a mile, and they leave a trail of bodies behind them. That's the whole thing. Because you're basically saying to the psychopath, yeah, so long as you hide the bodies really well, we'll let you do what you do. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. That's just.
It's crazy, and they're crazy, and the only way to beat them is to get everybody else together out and voting, because we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it by convincing the people who have already drank the Kool-Aid that they need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. We're going to do it by getting the people who disagree with all this BS to just put aside their petty differences for this election and just get out and frickin' vote, because you don't want to vote for the guy who tells people, get out and vote, and this is the last time you'll have to vote. Because, I don't understand how anybody could view that as anything other than, I'm going to make voting unnecessary because I'm going to be a dictator for life. And, you know, but they don't get, the MAGA folks don't care about that. The people, if any Democrat said, we're going to make it so you don't have to vote anymore, the MAGA folks would pitch a fit. But as long as Trump's their dictator, they're willing to do whatever they can, or whatever he needs them to do to support the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's like you need adults in the room to take care of these things, and that's the thing. They're not adults. They're just basically bought-off children. You know, somebody gave them a lollipop and said, "Just pretend you didn't see nothing." You know, and I mean, that's what they do. Yep. It's ridiculous. It's corruption at its highest level, and you know, I don't know. I mean, Republicans at this point are basically rapists, as far as I'm concerned. You know, they steal everybody's rights. They force themselves upon you. You don't have any choice in the matter. And because they control the courts and all the systems of oversight, you know, it becomes a crime that you can't do anything about. I mean, I don't see it in.
Let's see. Who was? I'm trying to remember who said the horrible line. What was it? Somebody, I guess. Well, this guy's name is Robert Reagan, but I think it was somebody on a more national scale, where basically it was like they said, if somebody gets sexually assaulted, you might as well just lie back and enjoy it. You know, because what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I know. They're sick. They're sick. I mean, we all see that they're sick, but people just go, yeah, but my parents voted for him, and I have to continue the long line of stupidity that feeds the Republican machinery that keeps us downtrodden and poor and on the verge of death. You know, I mean,
well, some of that goes on and continues. That's been for a while now, where people, especially Republicans, will be like, well, I have to vote who the Republican Party tells me to vote for. I remember I went for Congress in 2004, and I asked somebody who I worked with, I was like, hey, can you vote for me? She was like, no, I have to vote who the Republican Party tells me to vote for. And I'm just like, I used to respect you, because I used to thought she was like the head nurse on one of the floors at the hospitals that I would work at, and I thought she was a reasonably intelligent person. But then when she said that BS, I was like, what are you kidding me? Like that whole, you know, whatever. I don't vote who the Democratic Party tells me to vote for all the time either. But I'm not voting for Republicans. That's for darn sure.
Well, let's see. They're Republicans. They're faux Christians, and they're even faux humans, as they say. I mean, let's face it. They're basically vampires. They suck the social life out of society. You know, I mean, they refuse money for health care. They refuse money for welfare. They continue to say, we get to decide when the EPA can come in and look at something. This is a state affair, not a federal affair. I mean,
and there are reasons why the EPA it has to be a federal government thing, and it can't be just a state thing, because, like, let's say you look at the Mississippi River. Mississippi could be like, hey, we have this plant that we want to open. Okay, we might want to pollute it, and the Mississippi people are like, okay, well, you can pollute it as long as you do it and you open your plant right here at the bottom of Mississippi, where it's not going to harm any more of Mississippi, and then all it does is harm Louisiana. So who steps in? And Louisiana can't do anything about that unless the federal government has the authority to step in and say no. You know, this is something that is in violation of environmental law, and we need to protect the citizens and protect the individuals from these horrible companies, because clearly the states that are controlled by the MAGA folks at this point are just going to just constantly give handouts to these corporations in the form of, you could do whatever you want, you know, as long as I get my rent paid on Friday.
Yeah, it's kind of a case of not in my backyard stuff, you know. I mean, it's just gets to the point where it's ridiculous, where one hand washes the other, they look the other way or whatever, and it's sort of like, I mean, that was just like the same thing. I mean, what is it? They keep bringing up, the XL pipeline, and then they're told, you realize that was going over Native Americans' land, and that it was going to poison, the only freshwater supply that they have to themselves, and they go, but that was going to, and it's like, yeah, and you also realize that oil was going to go overseas. It wasn't going to actually help the U.S. economy.
That was going to be exported out of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one line of bullshit after the other. It gets to the point where it's infuriating.
And I guarantee you, if the pipeline was going to be going over like a Christian cemetery, they would have been like, oh no, you can't do that. But because it was going over Native American cemetery or burial ground or whatever, they don't care.
Well, this is the thing. They say, oh, well, there's no racism, there's no redlining, there's none of this stuff. And it's like, dude, it's right there right in front of your face.
Yep.
There's no denying it.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, we're watching you guys and we're just looking at you and we're going, something's not right. The other thing that gets me is you get people like Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz and all these guys that have gone to the finest schools, and they say everything they taught me in school is bullshit. And it's like, now why did you spend all that money to go to school?
Right.
Why? Why would you go there if you believe everything that they're going to tell you is a lie? Like, it's like, well, I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. You have the opportunity to better yourself as a human being above all other people because you have the means and you have the smarts, and you abuse it. And you tell other people, oh, it's not worth anything. It's not worth anything. Everything you've been told by the Democrats, by the best scientists in the world is bullcrap, and you should listen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, if experts say it, they're going to deny it because they don't want the experts having so-called control over their, because that's how it's couched, that's how it's formed. The argument is formed is that when the majority of the experts say that you can't do a thing because it's harmful to people, the automatic reaction is just like, nope, you're telling us what to do, we're not going to listen to these people, fake news, whatever. So that's
listen, I apologize for the last time. It turned out that somehow my cell plan had some sort of a special clause in it, which cut out all my minutes. That's why I didn't call back. I ended up actually having to change my cell plan to be able to get back in touch with you again. But
well, I mean, it's no problem, no biggie. As you know who, oh wait, I can't even, I'm not even scrolling anywhere near that. As you know who says, it is what it is. So, but I appreciate you calling in. You're welcome to call in anytime. It's good talking to you and anybody else who wants to call in and discuss these issues, because it's important. It's important that we all be heard, because everybody needs to be out there and help drown out the MAGA idiocy that exists in this country. Even though you may be from our northern neighbor, but we also need to see how our policies affect the world. I mean, we are still a world leader. Even though Trump tried his best to harm that, we are still have a lot of responsibilities around the world, and we need to realize how the harm that could be done, not just to the people in this country, but to the people all around the world if we elect the wrong people. And Donald Trump is king of the wrong people. So.
Well, that's just it as well. The other thing is, I mean, every time you put a Republican in power, what ends up happening? We either give all the money to the billionaires, or we trot ourselves into another war that takes 20 years to remove ourselves from. I mean, it just gets to the point where, it's ridiculous. You guys lose all your credibility and good standing in the world every time you guys put a Republican in office. It's just mind-boggling.
Yep. But for some reason, we have people, it's people who vote their privilege. You have a lot of people who might be like, oh, well, I don't necessarily like Donald Trump, but I'm not going to be harmed by him being president, so I don't care. Or, they look at their, portfolio and like, oh, my portfolio was great during the Trump administration, even though the stock market is even higher under Biden. And they're gonna say, oh, well, it benefits me financially to endorse Republicans instead of Democrats. And I'm like, my thing is, I've always said, I don't care if I have to pay a little more in taxes if it means that people aren't going to have their rights trampled over by government. Like, fine. Would I rather pay less taxes? Sure. But I would much rather not have people be marginalized and oppressed and whatever. And if it means, if at the end of the day it means I'm paying a little extra in taxes, so be it. I don't care. Because usually those taxes are being paid to buy things that are needed for people. So.
Yeah, like they say, there's only two things in life that are certain: death and taxes. And the thing is that if you don't pay your taxes, let's face it, you're probably sooner on your way to death, because if the taxes are the thing that support all the things that keep you alive, such as the EPA, or if it's single-payer health care that is paid through your taxes, then that's the price you pay. I mean, it's the price of admission to the human experience. I don't know other way to put it.
Well, even with that, when you had the situation with, because again, one of the things that I've been constantly reminded of this recently, I don't know why, but the time when Elizabeth Warren was running for president back in 2020, and Chris Matthews would have her on the show, and he would ask her things like, well, you have this universal health care plan, and how much is it going to increase everyone's taxes by? But ignoring the fact that, okay, fine, I might be paying more in taxes for this plan for me and my family, but I'm not paying healthcare premiums anymore, and I'm guaranteeing you that's less. So,
and you're not paying deductibles, and
right.
You're also not being refused service from the closest hospital due to the fact that your health insurance doesn't allow you to use that unless you pay through the nose. I mean, you can do everything right. Katie Porter had an example. She went and, her appendix burst, and she went to the right hospital. She went and saw the right emergency room, and what ended up happening? Oh, emergency surgery. Oh, the only anesthesiologist on call is from out of network, and guess what? It's going to cost you an extra $5,000 out of your pocket.
Right. That's absurd. That's one thing that's absurd. Like that is a ridiculous. I mean, that has happened to me before as well. I think when I had a lipoma removed, I want to say, or maybe a hernia repaired back during college. It was a fight between me and my insurance. And the funny thing was, I was working at a hospital. The insurance was provided by the hospital, and they still were trying to say that and I had the procedure done at the hospital that I worked at, and they were still trying to say that the anesthesiologist wasn't in network. I'm like, why would you assign me an out-of-network anesthesiologist when I have your insurance? Didn't make sense. But that's what insurance companies are for. Insurance companies are trying to make sure that everybody has to pay more money. Like, I had a friend who with car insurance who got into an accident, and the car insurance was trying to make sure that they had some responsibility in the accident, even though they had none. And there was video evidence showing that they had none, because why? If two people paid deductibles, then there's less money that they have to pay out of pocket. So.
Yeah. I'm encouraged that you guys finally embrace Kamala, and that you're gonna get your act in order. I hope. I think it's probably gonna take 20 years of dismantling everything that the Republicans have done to destroy the country and to restore governmental systems that the public relies on to get your, how should I say it, your equity back, which is basically everybody starting from the same
Hold on, I'm losing you about. I'm losing some of your volume. You're kind of fading in and out.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that perhaps, you guys will get some equity back, where you will basically all the same start line if you go back to the FDR style of governing, where, the richest pay their fair share, and that allows everybody to become middle class and have a happy life where everybody gets what they need. So,
yeah, hopefully, but we'll see. Let's go ahead. I'm really getting some bad stuff, so I'm probably gonna have to let you go because of the bad background feed. But thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you as always, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, and a call out to Mish and Jolie. They're part of my fan base.
Nice. All right. Well, have a good one, man. Good. Thank you for calling in.
Nice chatting with you as well.
You as well. All right. That was Big Hook. I don't know if it was. Some people said my microphone was bad. I don't know if it was my microphone that was bad or if it was his back feedback that I was getting from his that was being problematic. Hey, Mish, Nerd Mish is here. Good to see you, Mish. I don't know if you noticed it yesterday, but using my Liberal Dan radio account, bought one or paid for one gifted sponsorship on Twitch, on my Nerdy Dan Twitch, and it just happened to go to you. So Nerd Misha, you have a subscription for whatever for 1 month on the nerdydan.com Twitch account, thanks to the show. So there you go. But we're going to be, again, just to remind everybody, I'm going to be looking into. I'm not quite sure why I don't have the drops for the Apple TV Plus on Liberal Dan Radio 1, but the next time I go live on nerdydan.com on Twitch, which will be like in a half a month, really, because I'm out of town on the 6th, and then so the next time will be on the 13th. I guess I said 16th last time, but I was looking at the wrong month. The 13th of August is the next time I'll be live there. So on the 12th show, which will be on Liberal Dan Radio, we'll see if we have the ability to do drops on this channel, and I'll send you all over there if that's the case. But otherwise, if you want 3 months of Apple TV Plus and you're a new or returning subscriber, I don't think it could be an existing subscriber, but you'll be able to get, if you subscribe to me for 1 month over there on nerdydan.com, you can get 3 months of 3 months of Apple TV for free. Now, I have to be streaming at the time when you do it, apparently, so that's the caveat. So don't do it now. Yes, P-dubs, I did have COVID. I still have the cough that is lingering and will linger for months, I'm sure, but it is what it is. Let's see. Let's go ahead, before we go to the Elon Twitter thing, let's go ahead and do the Your Money Minute, Amber Rose's Your Money Minute from this week. So let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll go back to other topics.
This is Amber Petrovich with Your Money Minute. Let's talk about ETFs, which can be a terrific asset for your long-term portfolio. Exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, are groups or baskets of stocks that trade just like stocks. You can also trade ETF options. ETFs are funds, but their fees are generally lower than a mutual fund. They're also more liquid than mutual funds, meaning you can trade them more quickly and fluidly. There is an ETF for every sector, industry, region, country, and index you can think of. There are also inverse and levered ETFs that aim to perform the opposite of what they're following, but today let's just talk about index ETFs. Index ETFs follow major stock indexes, so they will aim to perform like the 30 companies in the Dow Jones, or the 500 companies in the S&P 500, or the 3,700 companies in the NASDAQ. Index ETFs are great assets to hold onto for the long term and buy continuously over time using both dollar cost averaging and buying the dip. That's because they give your portfolio broad exposure to the entire stock market in a streamlined way. Of course, ETFs and indexes are going to experience dips and declines, but historically, all of these have gained over time, and that is why they can be great for your long-term portfolio and when the market is in a major decline.
All right. Well, that was Amber Rose with her Your Money Minute. If you, again, any financial advice, you should always discuss with your financial advisor for your personal deals, but we like to give her some time on the show to be able to, advertise her stuff as well, because she supports me, so I support her, yin for yang, quid pro quo or whatever, but in a good way. So, yeah, I did have COVID. I caught it on the cruise. My thoughts are that I caught it because of the amount of karaoke that I was doing. Either because of touching the mic constantly and not using hand sanitizer after each time I touched the mic, or maybe just the fact that I was, singing, and towards the end of the week I was straining my voice a little bit just to try and get some of the songs out, and because of that, I perhaps made my throat more susceptible to disease because it was inflamed, I guess, from the partial laryngitis or whatever that I got. So, hold on. Jeff Curry went to a new spine doctor wearing a mask. She was doing a normal check of everything, but told me to take the mask off and smile. I'm beginning to think she was a pervert. She might have been. I mean, like attracts like, right, Jeff? Aaron says the same thing as I'm saying it. So, Serena Monkey, I hate COVID. I have 1/4 the lung capacity now. It sucks. Donkey balls. Yes, it does. I don't know. I've been a little out of breath, but I don't know if it's because of my weight or my issue. And, I went to the doctor yesterday just for my checkup, and, I've put on a little bit pounds or whatever, unfortunately. But, it's so frustrating that my doctor is like, I want to get you on this prescription, this medication, Zepbound. But even, my Medicaid, when I was on the Medicaid for a little bit, because they threw me on Medicaid and then never took me off. Even when I was on Medicaid for a bit, they stopped covering Trulicity, and then now that I have the new insurance, they don't want me to be able to get Zepbound because I'm not sick enough. I'm only obese, even though Zepbound is made specifically for people who are obese. So they won't cover it, so I can't get it. So unfortunately, it makes it so that it's harder for me to lose weight. I was, just walk around more. Sure, I'll walk around more and then hurt my knees, and then I'll be in even more pain. So that's the problem with being a person of my stature, I suppose. P-Dubs, could it be because you're on a ship with... I mean, yeah, others on the cruise probably passed it to me, but I'm thinking it was because of karaoke, specifically because the amount of times, I touch the mic, they touch the mic. I touch the mic, they touch the mic. Who knows what they're doing between we all touch the mics, you know what I mean? And my family didn't get it. They weren't sick. I was the only one sick, so... And the kids didn't come with me to karaoke. We did share a room, obviously, but I mean, with my CPAP machine, who knows? Maybe that kept my breathing into a particular area and didn't allow my breathing to spread across the room. So there's that as well. Maybe the CPAP machine helped keep my family members safe from getting whatever. See, were my symptoms bad? I did feel more run down than the last time I had it. I was kind of knocked out, and the worst thing that happened wasn't really, it was a symptom of a symptom. I was coughing more than I had been with previous bouts of COVID, and I feel like I had strained or stretched out my my stomach muscles, or my abdominal muscles, so to speak. That way it So then now every time I moved, let alone coughed, it was even more and more and more painful. So, yeah, the social media account for white male supporters of Kamala Harris was briefly suspended from Twitter. It had been suspended after the group had the one night where they raised over $4 million, which is pretty darn awesome that we were able to all raise $4 million together, because I'm one of the people that contributed. I mean, I only threw up about $50, but lots of people joined in, lots of people donated, etc. They're not very clear as to why the account was banned from Twitter. They said that there was, quote, suspicious activity at first from one of the screenshots if you look at the WhiteDudes4Harris's Twitter account. But now it's back. So, but again, from Elon Musk showing a video of Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, showing her saying things that she never said, which him posting that and not being clear that it was a parody, he just said, "This is great." He didn't say it was a parody, and it's in violation of Twitter policies. And there was some community notes on his post that basically said, this is in violation of Twitter policies. Those community notes went away. So it looked like Musk went ahead and said, no, we're not going to allow the community notes people to community note the owner of Twitter. He just wants to be able to say whatever the hell it is that he wants to say. But the account eventually came back. But between him posting for the White Dudes account came back, but between him posting that video with Vice President Harris and then him banning the WhiteDudes4Harris account, it just made me say, well, the only reason I know why he's doing that is because Elon Musk supports Donald Trump for president, and Donald Trump is a 34-time convicted felon, and as I said on Monday, you can't spell felon without Elon. So there you go. Jeff, wait, did I miss something? Jeff, I guarantee if I walked around in a thong, people would notice. Where'd that come from? Let's see. What uniforms go up at? When Aaron, when I'm watching Olympic women's gymnastics yesterday, I was thinking I'm a pervert. What about the high jump? The high jump ones, you get even more perverted people watching those, I think. Yes, Easy E. Elon censored them on purpose, no doubt. I'm sure he did, again, because Elon Musk supports convicted felon Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, or felon, can't be spelled without Elon. And I'm going to repeat that till I kick that dead horse dead. Even more dead than it is. Certain Monkey, yes, but at least you enjoyed yourself, and technically your own fault, not me. I hate people that didn't talk to people for 4 years before the quarantine. Nice. That's again, I would have, if I wouldn't have made Elon Musk a hypocrite of the week on Monday, he would have been made hypocrite of the week today, and I would have included the thing about him being on there. He all came on and saying, I believe in free speech. Now, of course, he doesn't understand what free speech means, because the rights to free speech that are guaranteed by the First Amendment have nothing to do with whether or not a corporation will allow you to say or do anything that you want to do on the site. It's government interference that is protected from the First Amendment. However, Musk seemed to want to say that yes, we're gonna protect free speech on this platform, and then went ahead and starts suspending people and banning people, who are just speaking. So that's what he does. That's what he do. No surprise here.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Ikbadir, I've never been in shitter. Mish, it's probably best not to ask what. I think I missed something. Chris Surrender Monkey, I'm only a hugger online. In real life, don't touch me. I don't know. I am a hugger in real life. I did walk around the cruise at least once each cruise. I'll walk around with my shirt that says free hugs. So there's that. But I like making people laugh with it, since the free hugs looks like the Pornhub logo. So, Dawn, Jeff, don't be flattered. The neurologist was checking sinal cranial nerves. Probably. So Elon is pissed his X-Form is helping out the liberals. Well, because he wants Donald Trump. Because he likes felons. Because it matches his name almost. SpaceX hauls too much top secret stuff for Elmo to be in charge. Not happy. That's true. Easy E, no offense, but obesity is comorbidity of COVID. So are diabetes and other pre-existing conditions. Well, I mean, if you have COVID and you're obese, you're more likely to potentially be sick. And part of that is because, we've discussed this, I think, last show too, is that if you have COVID, or you get the COVID vaccine, it's one dose. It's the same size dose for everybody. I don't know why I get the same dose as a 150-pound person. To me, I would think, hypothetically speaking, that I would probably need, I as a much larger than 150-pound person, would need more vaccine than a 150-pound person would need. And there's actually some evidence to show that the vaccine doses don't help people as much. They still help, but they don't help people as much as they would if you're thinner, etc., etc. So, speaking of hugs, here's some for anyone who may need or want one. Peace and much love, peeps. Have a good day. Thank you, Mish. Appreciate you as always, and I'll always take free hugs. So Roxanne, I always feel that those platforms would be equivalent to leaving the door open to my house and letting everybody in. Seems insane. Yeah, but to me, all of these things are tools to try and help promote the podcast. So when I post things on Twitter or whatever Musk wants to call it, I'm not calling it it's Twitter. As long as Elon Musk dead names his own child, I'm going to dead name his company. So, but everything is basically a tool to try and get, more attention paid to the Twitch and YouTube accounts to make sure that the podcast can become even better and even more successful than it already is, especially compared to how it was before BHS, I should say, before House Parks. P-dubs, of course, I've never gone on a cruise. I'm careful. My wife is threatening that if I get sick on one more cruise, she's never taking me on the cruise again. I'm like, who pays for the cruises? I mean, I'm paying for the cruises because I'm bringing in most of the money, but still, go on. But it's also funny. I'm wondering if I should not do karaoke next time and just see. I mean, that might just, if I don't do karaoke and then I don't get sick, that's likely just correlation and not causation, but still, it might be an interesting experiment to do. She wants to go on one for her birthday next year. Our problem is we don't know what the school schedule is for our kids, and as such, we don't know whether or not we can take the oldest on the cruise because of the attendance requirements that they put on him, which are much more strict in high school than they were in middle school, middle, and elementary school. You do seem to get sick on every cruise you go on. Not every cruise, but there were some. I would say of all the times I've gotten COVID, which has been like, I think 4 or 5 now. I think one was before a cruise. Like we tested negative 2 days out before getting on the cruise ship. So one was before the cruise. Excuse me. One was back in January 2020 when there was no actually confirmation that there was COVID, but it had to be because what else would have been, because my doctor said it was a viral but not the flu, and I felt even worse than I did on the last time and the first time, even though you know, it just lasted long. I don't even think it lasted longer. I think it lasted about the same amount of time, but I felt even more run down and run over during me being sick. One time I got it from the kids, or from my youngest kid, because my oldest kid has never gotten it. But I think twice I've gotten it on cruises, and one cruise, the cruise I took before this cruise, I did get sick, but it wasn't COVID. It was just the flu. So, I mean, I've been on several cruises, and I only got sick, I think, off of 2 of them. So, yeah, cruises are major super spreaders, and there were people in the forum that were basically like, yeah, I got it too. So, but probably won't get it from Disney, because first of all, I'm still getting over the cough, so anything I do get might get combined over, but I should still be, protected by the antibodies from the current strain that I got. So a tablespoon of real Canadian maple syrup will take that constant dry cough you have away. I've been doing honey. A friend of mine made a blend of tea, whatever, and I'm trying to do some tea and honey, just to try and, deal with that. I also finally got the Tessalon Perels or whatever, which I always laugh at the name, because the first time a friend of mine was like, have you ever tried Tessalon Perels or whatever? And I'm like, are you having a stroke? What the hell is that? I've never heard of that before in my life. So I'm more than happy to have anybody ship me down some maple syrup, though, if you want to. A spoonful of syrup helps the coughs go down. Jolie, you've definitely gotten sick from cruises more than twice. Are you sure about that? I don't know. I think it's only been twice that I got sick from the cruise. No, 3 times. You're right. You're right. It's 3 times. It is 3 times. Twice COVID, twice with COVID, once with the flu. So it's been 3 times. You're right. You're right, Jolie. I shouldn't question you. Hey, Rose. What's going on? You gonna meow for the people today like you did yesterday? Hello, Rosie Posies. Look at this little kitty. Look at this little kitty, who, if I try to hug her and snuggle her, she'll run away. But she likes being scratched. She will like being scratched and being loved on when she chooses it, right? No, you're gonna run away? You're not even gonna let me try and kiss you? My grandpa said a few chugs of Old Crow cured everything. Rosie Posies, come here. Come here, Rosies. Come here, my orange cat. Apparently it's weird, because usually orange cats are males. So we have a rare female orange cat. She did give a meow the last time she was on the stream. I don't know if it was Monday or yesterday, but she did give a meow. You gonna meow? Mwah. Yeah, hello. Is your mommy ignoring you? Is that why? Oh, now you're gone. Bye, Rose. You maybe, I don't know if I had that cough, or maybe it just seems like it's been months. I don't know. I got better from the last time I was sick, and then I just got it back. I got the sickness back. So what are you doing, my cat? No hunting for roaches. See, it's been raining a lot recently, and when it rains, the big old palmetto bug type roaches will try and come into the house, and Rose loves to hunt the palmetto bugs, and then she brings it to us in bed, and it's not very pleasant. That's the strangest looking parrot I ever saw. Hilarious. Let's see, strolling back up. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of bugs. I don't know what happened. I had one of these black little crawly bugs or whatever, and it was in my water on my nightstand, and I took a sip, and I was like, spat it immediately right out, and I found it to see what it was. I'm wondering if a cat left it in there, but I'm like, I need to keep this cap closed to make sure that I don't continue to make sure that they don't crawl back into my my drink, so I can actually drink fresh water without having it be bug juice. had an albino bullfrog in a pond when I was a kid. We caught it so many times for pictures it was nearly tame. Nice. See, we have a bunch of frogs in the backyard, and they just, I'm surprised, you might hear them on the podcast. Sometimes when I'm making a video downstairs on my phone, you might hear it in the background of the video. Sometimes you might hear it here as well. So let's see, what are the other things? Project 2025 news. Well, if you haven't heard yet, Project 2025 leader Paul Dans announced that he will leave the Heritage Foundation think tank, which published the document, to direct all my efforts to winning bigly, is what he said. So he is focusing on getting Trump into the White House. So Trump asks this guy to step down. He steps down, but yet Trump had nothing to do with Project 2025. Is that what we're supposed to believe? Bullshit. Excuse me. Again, he claims he has no connection to the policy document, and he does not agree with much of its content, which was written by a team including several dozen former members of his administration, which is one of the other reasons why we believe Donald Trump's claims of don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain is many more than that. Mr. Roberts said he would be taking over leadership of the team. Kevin Roberts, the president of Heritage, said that Mr. Dans built the project from scratch and bravely led this endeavor over the past 2 years, but is now moving up to the front where the fight remains. Mr. Roberts said he would be taking over leadership of the team. A source familiar with the project told BBC that the project was not shutting down and the change was a reshuffle. Mr. Dans, in a statement, said he would leave his post as head of the 2025 presidential transition project in August. Electoral season upon us. I want to direct all my efforts towards winning bigly. To everything, there is a season. He said in Project 2025's policy platform was always expected to be finalized around the time of the Republican convention. We completed what we set out to do, which is create a unified conservative vision, united behind the cause of deconstructing the administrative state. Of course, administrative state just means they want to get rid of all of the people who are public servants. That's what the administrative state is, public service, because they don't like public servants. They don't like public service. And what they want to do is they want to replace all the public servants with people who will pledge loyalty to Trump. Because they think that everybody should be loyal to the president and not the country. So, just Redder Monkey, only bugs in the UK are tiny fruit fly things that make beer chewy. It's fine. I really like beer. All right, Kavanaugh. See, the Heritage, he organized policy and personnel recommendations and training for appointees for the next administration, according to the think tank's website. Project 2025's defining document, its so-called mandate for leadership, has drawn media scrutiny and liberal opposition since Trump became a Republican nominee. There is much overlap between Project 2025 and the Republican Party's official platform. Among its proposals are bringing the entire federal bureaucracy under presidential control, dismantling the departments of education and homeland security, slashing federal money for renewable energy, halting sales of the abortion pill, sweeping tax cuts. In response to Mr. Dan's announcement, Trump campaign reiterated that the former president was very clear that Project 2025 has nothing to do with the campaign. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, to the orange man behind the orange curtain, who's making Agenda 47, which is the same thing as 2025. Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic candidate, said that Project 2025 isn't going anywhere. This is his agenda written by his allies for Donald Trump to inflict on our country. Hiding the 920-page blueprint from the American people doesn't make it less real. In fact, it should make voters more concerned about what else Trump and his allies are hiding. And again, when we come back from Disney, which is next week, so again, no show next week. So if you do want to watch and listen to anything Liberal Dan, I do have the best of playlist. I have other playlists you can go through. You can just go through the videos and watch those. We will not be on the air next week because I'm going out of town. I'm still working during the day. Yeah, I will still be working because, I don't have as much vacation time, but at least Cassie and the kids will be able to enjoy themselves at Disney World whilst I work during the day and then meet up with them at night. So, Surrender Monkey, I call them protein bits. Nice. Vice President Harris needs to win in a landslide. Absolutely correct. We need to hope to make that happen. And one of the things that people can do to make it happen, I'm really firm on this. And one of my firm beliefs is that the way we do it is we need to fight conservatives everywhere, which means elevating people's exposure to a wide variety of media, which means more people need to subscribe to Hal, more people need to subscribe to Dude, more people need to subscribe to me, more people need to subscribe to Trucker John, more people need to subscribe to Benny and Diane, more people need to subscribe to everybody who's doing the fight and the needed work that is necessary to defeat Donald Trump. Because we need all hands on deck, and that doesn't just include getting out there doing the work. It means getting out there and supporting the people who are trying to get the work done and organized and inform people about the bullshittery that is Project 2025 and Agenda 47 and all the other things that these people want to do and inflict on our country. So Project 2025 wants to get rid of the NOAA, so we would have no idea if hurricanes or any other serious weather issues. Well, I mean, we could look at the European models, which sometimes happen to be more right anyway. But yeah, it's very important to make sure that all of these things, are fought at every single level. Chris, Liberal Dan, my son, Blaze Red. Oh, I have it. There we go. I've got it. So I will take a look at it and see. We did play a different song at the beginning of today's show. I've linked it on the top of there, but we will definitely take a look at it. I will save it as unread and mark as unread, and we'll go back and look over it later. I don't know where it went. That's weird. Anyway, volunteer to be a poll worker at voting locations. Usually Republicans sign up for those roles. The Republicans are going to try and pull some shenanigans. Well, yeah, especially in states that allow for challenges. When you can allow for when we are allowed to challenge other people's voting, that's what these poll watchers will do. So. And yeah, thank you, Aaron, for sharing the Patreon link, patreon.com/liberaldan, or you can also get there, patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way gets you there. And you can also support the show, again, by liking the video, sharing it, making comments on other videos as well. We need to do lots of different ways to help the show grow. And, we've grown, more than I thought I ever would have, thanks to everybody's help here and other people who are currently watching, but who I do appreciate just the same. We're just going to keep trying and grow, and hopefully the more you comment on videos, the more you like them, the more you share them, the more we will get a snowballing effect and start growing the show. Just like Hal's show, was at a lower point one time. Remember, it was at 20,000 and 30,000 and 50,000. It just keeps growing there. The other day he was at 69,000. Nice. But Swindler Monkey, I just share one can for the rest of them. For me, that's horrible. I don't know. I'm kind of lost there. Trump ain't going to be around in hauling Big Macs. Yeah, he does love his hamburgers, right? So, yeah, Roxanne. Yes, we have Trump Sharpie. Trump Sharpie will help steer the storms, right? He has a magical Sharpie to help steer the storms away from, at least the problem is Trump would steer the storms away from the red areas and then slam it into the blue areas. So, it is. Let's see, Tennessee Brando, Midas Touch, Tony, Texas Paul, Michael Ojeda are all also great shows. I agree with you. I've seen most of them. I don't know if I've seen Tennessee Brando yet. I'll have to check it out. Send me a link, liberaldanradio@gmail.com, if I don't find it, just so I can make sure to subscribe to it as well. And again, we're gonna try and do our best here. We're gonna take my vacation. We're gonna go out of town next week one more time, I mean, it's not that much of a vacation for me again because I'm working, but I won't have any of my podcasting gear with me to go live. Maybe, if it makes sense, maybe I go live on my phone every once in a while, just for some surprise shows here and there. But other than that, you know, we're gonna come back from Florida. We're gonna come back swinging. We're gonna come back going over Project 2025 and comparing it to Agenda 47. We're going to be focusing on those things. We're going to be focusing on all the issues. We're going to be focusing on all the important stuff that needs to be looked at to make a very solid case against Donald Trump and a solid case for Vice President Harris. Which, when I know a lot of y'all don't go to TikTok, but one of the reasons I do go to TikTok is because there's a lot of anti-Semitism there that needs to be fought, which is unfortunate. But one of the things I've taken to doing on TikTok is I've basically said, look, if you are a conservative commentator and you can't say Kamala Harris instead of Kamala Harris, why would I bother listening to anything? If you're incapable of updating your language to say Kamala Harris, then why should we listen to anything else you have to say? Because some people will say, "Oh, they're purposely doing it." I'm like, fine. I'm just gonna keep saying that they're incapable of doing it, because to me, they're incapable. If it's incapable by choice or incapable by choice or incapable by lack of ability, whatever, I'm just going to continue to say they're incapable, just as an insult to them, because they need to be insulted for the amount of disrespect that they show for Vice President Harris. So, P-Dubs, yes, we discussed Trump's performance at the NABJ at the beginning of the show, during the beginning of the call with Big Hook. I was going to discuss it after the call, but he brought it up, so it just basically brought up all the points that I took notes on, to basically, go into the fact that it was just a terrible idea. He was stupid for doing it, and then he showed himself to be the coward that he is yet again. So, well, you could always scroll back and rewatch the beginning. The shows are available on demand. Any show you miss, you can watch anytime you want. You just can't comment. Well, you can't comment live, but you can make comments in the comment section, which also helps the algorithms. And as we all know, Al Gore needs more rhythm. Anyway, 9:30. Again, I don't want to strain my voice too much. I was online a long time last night on nerdydan.com. I think I went 6 hours, maybe more. But a lot of that is just gaming and not necessarily talking. But we did do a lot of talking too. We did some political talking as well. It just goes to show. You can go to twitch.tv/nerdydan.com if you want to watch the past stream, and you'll hear for a good bit of it, conversations between me and my friend Ari, and Aaron was in the chat as well. One of the things that is interesting about... What are you gasping about, Aaron? One of the things that is interesting about last night's show is that I don't want to overhype it too much, but it's very well possible that a candidate for president might be coming on my show. It's not one of the two major ones, but a candidate for president may be coming on my show sometime next month. So, yes, you were up very late, Aaron. I was surprised how late you stayed up, because normally you head off earlier. You must have enjoyed the conversation, and enjoyed participating in the conversation. But yeah, hey, Andrea, good to see you. We may very well have a presidential candidate coming on the show. We did have, I think 4 years ago, I had on Dan Berman, who is the Libertarian endorsed candidate, or a Libertarian candidate for president. And the topic of the show is taxation theft. And it was basically a discussion over the idea of whether or not taxation is theft, and just kind of a debate between me and that candidate. But the friend of mine who was called in to the show last time also also knows Dan Berman as well. So we will see, and we'll definitely promote it once it's confirmed. I'm not going to jinx it at this point, but once it's confirmed, we will. Once it's confirmed, we'll let you know who it is and what it is going to be. Aaron knows, but we may be able to, Andrea. We're staying actually in Mineola, which is, I think, is a little bit north of Orlando. We can talk offline about the schedule and maybe seeing about whether or not we can get together. I don't know about what Sunday looks like for you. I don't know if we're going to a park Sunday or not. I know we're having food at one of the parks on Sunday, but I don't know if we're going to a park on Sunday specifically. So, but I will definitely let you know. We can definitely work that out. I would love to be able to meet Andrea in person. So I'd love to meet everybody in person. Everybody, if I'm going to be in your neck of the woods or if you're going to be in New Orleans, I want to meet you and hang out with you and talk shop, have fun, get a drink, eat some food, whatever it is. So, and if you want to, and especially if you want to feel thin, you can come stand by me, because that's the service I do. I make people feel thin. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and make it an end to this episode of Liberal Dan Radio Talk from the Left. That's right. I'll be back not next Monday, but the 12th of August. The 12th of August is when I'll come back. Remember, I do have a best of list that I might be able to add some to it more as well. Best of Liberal Dan Radio playlist here on liberaldanradio.com. You can also support all the other places by subscribing. Follow me on TikTok, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Facebook, here on YouTube. Subscribe, like, lots of different free ways for you to help the algorithms and spread the word. Until next week, or until 2 weeks from now, I should say, this is Dan Zimmerman with Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left. That's right.